Hey everyone, I'm back. I've been sick for 3 days. Just this really strong head cold had me knocked flat. So, yeah, my nose is pretty much done running. The head pressure is pretty much gone. I don't feel like I was run over by a truck anymore. So, I'm back up and on my feet, getting back into it. Anyway, we're really close. So, we're doing a few things. One of them is to put an on demand button like, hey, call the next 500 leads out of the list of however many total right now with the tests that I'm testing right now, whether it's for voicemail or for live calls. And so we can test, we can check results, we can make tweaks and run it again. So if what we're testing doesn't need to wait for optimal hours to test, if it's testing functions, we can just do that real fast, back to back during the day. And this is good. So that's one thing. Another thing we're doing is on demand. There have been a lot of cases where somebody will say, hey, I'm sorry, can't talk now. Can you call back in 10 minutes? Or can you call back in 15 minutes? Can you call back in an hour? Things like that. So we heard enough of that to know that we need to build that in. So we're actually going through those steps and we're going to build that in. That'll be live probably by next week. And that'll be cool. So it can say sure, and it can call them back. Like if they ask for 15 minutes, what we're going to do is probably build an extra 5-minute delay into it. Because usually when somebody goes, hey, can you call me back in 15 minutes? They're wrong. It's going to take them 20. They just don't know it yet, right? Hey, can you call me back in 5 minutes really means, can you call me back in 10? So if you call back in 5, they may not answer the phone at all because they're not ready and they don't want to tell you another 5 minutes. It's kind of embarrassing. But if they say, can you call me back in 5? We'll say, sure, I'll call you shortly. And then we'll call them back in 10. If they say, can you call me back in 15? We'll call them back in 20. So we can just add a 5-minute delay on top of whatever they said. So that's something I want to be able to build in because I think it's going to have a better conversion effect that just on the whole. People be more ready 5 minutes later than they thought. So having said that, we're doing all these different industries. Who knows where the leads are best, but we're just playing the whole game for everything anyway. That's where we're going. That's what you guys want. That's the reason you got in, is so that we can go wherever the tides bring us. So we're getting close to done with all the functions and having them tested and working right. There are a few more tweaks we have to make. They keeps happening to us, but we're doing it right. And there are reasons for it. For instance, I found a couple of cases where in the voicemails, it'll keep trying to do the phone menu and get stuck for some reason, trying to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So it'll take 15 minutes for what it failed in the first minute. It tried again for the second minute, but it kept going when it should have stopped. And why didn't it stop? We keep thinking we've got this thing always there now, but sometimes it gets ahead of us. So we're continuing to build that. And here's the reason why. If I've got 2 calls where it fails, but it keeps going anyway, then in those 2 calls of 15 minutes each until it times out, because we put a max timeout on the call of 15 minutes. We figure no call should take longer than 15 minutes no matter what's happening. Even if they're going through the questionnaire, right? It'll be less than 15 minutes. And that's the goal, that every call gets somebody through the questionnaire and would therefore take like maybe 10 or 12 minutes, at the most. But once it hits 15 and closes, if it does 2 calls where it just looped endlessly for no reason in the voice menu, then that's 42 cents I had to pay just for call time, let alone any of the attempted talking. And sometimes it does. So there's some more payments for that. And the operations costs of listening and reacting to every different thing. So there's a cost, it's like 46 cents for 2 calls like that, or 23 cents, like a quarter for every call that fails to go through DTMF the right way. Now, we don't have a ton of calls like that. It does seem like there's more than one kind of DTMF reaction on when we call the number. Sometimes it'll say press pound. Well, press pound, and it'll say, if you're done with your message, press pound. And you'll be like, okay, and it'll press pound, but it does it a different way. In other words, it tries one type of a pound press, and if that fails, it tries a backup type for a second kind of phone menu system that's interpreting the keystroke a different way. So there's a reason to call twice. But in the end, instead of a call or 2 calls costing 46 cents, or 1 call costing 23 cents, it should cost like 2.5 cents. See? So when we go to scale, we do want to minimize issues like that as much as we can. Having said that, I keep saying that. Here's what I want to say. What's neat is going through the call quality and seeing that most of the time it hits nicely. It hits really well. It sounds quite human. And whether it's human or not, it's reached that point where you're not going to mind if you find out it's AI, because it's doing the job well, it's reflecting what you want well. You don't really care. And I really like the way many of these have been coming out, okay? We haven't been working on all of them equally because we keep really focusing on one, like DUI or plumbing, for different reasons. Just so we can focus on one and keep making changes to one, before we copy a bunch of changes over to the rest. And we've been setting that up with the files and everything that are transferable for basic instructions that apply to everyone. But what I want to do is walk you through a few of these calls, and I won't do it in this recording because I want it kind of just a clean stack of, hey, I'm going to dial, see what happens. Dial, see what happens kind of thing, and just talk about it, okay? Other points I want to make, we're going to start automating a lot more. Everything that talks about modernity, we're going to build it in. For instance, here's a kind of a dream right now. It's in the, something in the pipeline. It won't happen this fast, but it will happen pretty soon. This whole talk about, as guys are signing on, we know we need to create websites, right? Well, guys who are putting money in and they're paying to get their orders done, we want to expand the scope of what we can give them. So we can actually get them a website for everyone who buys. Then when they went through the questionnaire, we got the information, what they want, what they don't, what they deal with, what they don't, okay? And so what we can do with that? We can use that to automatically build websites and then use AI to evaluate. First, look at the competitive scape, see how the other websites are performing, narrow down everything they're doing right and wrong, topical authority, content gaps, lots of other things. Just all the topics are covering and what's important and what they're missing, and then put together our plan for our 1 or more websites and then automatically build them. And when I say automatically build them and then automatically review them, automatically update them on a consistent basis, what's the point? That we can have AI figure out who's interested, and for all the people who are interested, build corresponding websites for each of these guys. So you know what their payments are covering? The websites that are necessary. If one guy says yes and is making a payment, we're going to make sure to evaluate how many websites are necessary in that area and start building them to include on that guy's behalf. In other words, those sites will be built to cover that guy's needs, which will happen to also cover a lot of other lawyer needs in the area, or painter needs, or plumbing needs, or whatever. But the guys who are paying, we're going to focus on their needs, which are going to very much overlap with the other guys, but we're going to focus on them anyway. And other guys who are paying, they're also going to go through the questionnaire. Their answers could be the same, not the same, quite similar, quite dissimilar. It doesn't matter. We're going to build a bunch of websites for them too. But having this happen automatically, having our systems automatically do this, is really a big deal. And our systems can go through our tool stack. Remember, I showed you in videos long ago the kind of tool stack we have for mass controlling websites. We can have AI check out the web pages, run the tests, evaluate the results, and run the tools to improve things and do things and change things and add things and so on. We can have the AI review the pages, see what's missing that should be added, or decide when to add more content to pages and just straight do it. Okay. So this is a pipe dream right now, so to speak, but it's not that far off because we have pretty much all the kind of programming done for the automation of the website development. So now it's just unscrewing the skin and then creating a new skin and then screwing it in. Because now we're going to have this process that takes the information that we want, finishes filling in the requirements necessary for the websites to be generated, and then start generating the websites. I wonder if I can show you that easily. We've gotten so far off to this side that I haven't been back here in a while to check this stuff out. But if somebody was going to make a purchase, okay, they were just going to get details and they were going to make a purchase, then what do? They fill in the fields, right? And when they fill in the fields, say it's the same industry or a new industry or generic industry, but it's for this template, right? What can we do? We can use, whatever the information is, new industry. What are the services? Now, videos, we can source separately by now. Citations are getting really easy. Looking up stuff on the internet is getting really easy. So we can find the right videos, okay? We can look up external authority links. We can figure out main keywords, blah, 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 and use all this to help us go. We could even do the buy new domain and put it in and blah, 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 right? So people can go through this process and the website will create, or this process will create the website when they make the payment, right? Very simple, very cool. We can take it a step further. We can take the information from the questionnaire, the form, couple it with whatever else is necessary here, fill in by looking up the right citations in the end and the right videos in the end, and then we can automate everything. We can automate, looking up a few domain names, seeing what's available, and then buying the ones we want, okay? We can automate pretty much all of it, okay? Seems weird, but not so much. AI can do all of it and create the website or websites based on the person's order. So now we're giving somebody something really valuable for the money they spend, even if the website's not for that person directly, it's a dispatcher website. Well, what's good about that is the more people that are buying in for leads, that we're creating dispatcher websites to cover all of them, but we have a number of websites focused on each guy so that the leads that get attracted to those websites are the subsets that relate to them the most, but whoever doesn't work for them anyway can still, because they're filling in our lead questionnaire, they're talking to our lead questionnaire, can be directed for other guys. So this guy gets some websites, but some of his leads are no good for him, but good for other people over here. While these guys the websites are made, some of the leads that come to them are not good for them, but going to be good for some of them over here. Or the leads will be good for all of them. Some of the leads will be good for all of them, but they're not already at the same time for new leads, are they? Get it? So that is so cool because we can do this almost like a co-op program for a low budget per person for getting into it all. Now, the point is we were going to do this anyway, and we are going to do this anyway. We're going to build these websites on their orders to start getting leads to them. But to be able to kind of automate that entire process, isn't that interesting? We make the calls, the guys who say yes, they get in, they fill in their questionnaire, and we start auto-generating the websites. No human involvement. It's very possible we can do this without human involvement at all. It's possible. Second thing that's really interesting about that is that we can make the bigger package deal offer, to each of these guys. They can feel like they have their hands in it more, right? They can sort of understand that this stuff is going to happen now, and that's cool. This is what you're getting with your order, not just the leads, but websites generated on your behalf to help bring leads to you organically. We can just sort of include that kind of thing more into the pitch. Even though we were going to do it anyway, we can say that now. But the fact that we can make all this happen so much faster, like what if their websites are done, even if it was 20 websites we had to make, what if they were done within an hour of their purchase? That's a possibility. It's crazy, but it's possible. And so anyway, all right, that's the stuff I wanted to say in this video is that not only that, but stuff like live chat assistants can be auto-made and deployed to the websites, or if they're applicable, auto-added to the websites if they already exist. But we're going to put them on other websites in their industry. And then, so that's for live chat agents. We can automatically deal with that for everybody. And then phone numbers. We can auto source as many more phone numbers as we feel we need as we go and attach them to the new website so that the websites have their own operating phone numbers that were paid for by the orders of the people. Okay? It's getting crazy, but whoever thought modernizing our websites means one day you can make a call and say, hi, I'm a DUI lawyer. Here's what I do and don't do. Here's who we are and stuff, the name of our firm, blah, blah, blah. I want leads. Great. I'll make the payment. And in that process of talking to AI and getting all that information squared away, the websites are going to automatically build themselves too and literally be live within like an hour. And they can be checked and adjusted daily in the beginning, like for the first 7 days, just to make them as good as possible. Even if it's like every other day for 7 days, we can run cron jobs. So we can check, check and update and compare to the market, our latest, greatest version so that it hits that point where it's great. And then like every week or month, we'll figure it out, maybe bi-weekly. What are we going to do? Step in and improve things, make adjustments to things, go through the web pages and make them better, This is nuts, but it's very, very real. Okay, there's that. We got this breakdown here, and that's cool for you guys to sort of, digest. And what I'll do in a subsequent video is just a bunch of calls for the fun of it, kind of give you a sense of where the technology is right now. I gave you the numbers in an earlier video, so you can make calls and just chat and kind of see where it goes for yourself. But for those of you who haven't done it, but you're curious, maybe you're either too scared to call or just haven't gotten around to it, let's do a video where we just do a few calls. I'll make you some notes about it. It's pretty cool. Okay.